Hello everyone, this is your teacher Sandra. Today we are going to study Unit 10, Part 2, Society. For this reason, I'm going to remind you what did we study or what are we going to study today. Present, past, passive, and complaining. In the vocabulary, we are going to remember that we studied describing a city, crime and punishment, and how to talk about problems. In the reading section, read about the best cities for young people and read an article about crime and punishment. In the listening comprehension, you will listen to conversation about different cities, listen to people complaining, and watch an abstract from a documentary about internet sensation. In the speaking part, talk about problems in a school, talk about an important issue. In the writing section, use formal expressions to write an email and write about an issue. Now, in this part, we are going to study present and past passive. When do we use present and past passive? We use the passive or the active voice to talk about the things people do. Example, John stole the camera. Liz ate the bread. We use the passive voice to talk about what happens to things or people. In the inactive, we say John stole the camera. In passive, we say the camera was stolen by John. If inactive, we say Liz ate the bread. In the passive, we say the bread was eaten by Liz. When the cause of the action is unknown, for example, thousands of people are killed on the roads every year, we don't know who kills them. When the cause of the action is not important, for example, the cakes are made in France, it is not important to tell who makes them. If we want to say who does or did the action, we use by. And this is an example. The criminal was caught by the police and penicillin was discovered by Sir Alexander Fleming. Now, pay attention to the chart. Present passive, and we are going to use the two ways of the verb to be. Subject with I, you, he, she, we, they, and the verb to be corresponding am, are, is. The past participle of the verb told, and this is the example, that he the best player. I am told that he is the best player. You are told that he is the best player. He, she, is told that he is the best player, and you with they are told that he is the best player. Rugby isn't play here. And remember, if the action is in present, you use the verb to be in present. Are is with past participle. If the action is in past, we say this. Pay attention. Affirmative subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. But remember, the verb to be has two ways or forms in the past simple. Was and were. Who or which personal pronouns were with was? I, he, she, it, and we were, you, we, and they. Remember that you need to use the past participle, in this case, stopped. I was stopped by a policeman. You were stopped by a policeman. If the sentence is negative, we use the subject or the personal pronoun, the verb to be in negative, in this case is wasn't, and the past participle. Example, the photo wasn't taken, and if we have a question, we invert the order. Was the dog killed? In this case, we use dog and we use why. Was. Now, let's make the practice. In this part, we are going to study a chart. Complete the chart or the table with the passive form. We use the active. The police catch a man stealing books from a bookshop. Passive, a man is caught stealing book from a police because the action is in present. What happens in past? Past, the judge sent the man to read stories. Passive, the man was sent to read stories. You need to read the sentences in exercise 4A again. And which sentences says who does the action, the active or the passive. Rules. Use the passive to talk about what happens to things, people we don't know, who caused the action or isn't important. From the passive, subject plus verb to be the cause. was or were, in present and or past, am, are, is, plus the verb in past participle. So listen to the actions. In this case, you are going to make the sentences, but for this reason, I made the sentences in this part. So when I was a child, I, but let me show you. In this part, listen to this and then I'm going to show you the example of these sentences. Pay attention.
Unit 10. Recording S10.4.
1,
He was sent home.
2,
It was eaten.
3,
They were caught.
4,
They were stopped.
In this case, we have sentences in the passive voice, but let me show you the sentences that I made for you. In this part, you are not going to make sentences with pronouns and the verbs in brackets or parentheses. Use the simple, the present simple, or the passive. So, what? Number one, when I was a child, I was told many stories. Number two, my real name is James, but I am called Jim by my friends. Number three or two, on my 10th birthday, I was taken to Disneyland. Number three, these days people in my company are paid a bonus every December. Number four, when I was younger, I was helped by many teachers. Five, on our first day, all new students are shown around the school. Six, even now, I am told that I look like my mother. Seven, when we were young, all the children in my family were expected to become doctors. Remember, if a sentence in active is present simple, you make into present passive. If the sentences that is shown is in past, you are going to say past passive. Okay, so this is a recommended to practice in order to improve your pronunciation. Now on page 165 and 66, you are going to work and read about some crimes and think of alternative and punishments. So, for example, two boys were caught writing large graffitis on the wall on a private house. So, what is the alternative sentence? Over a period of 2 years, the boys had to clean the walls of every house in the streets 3 times a year. This is the second crime. A couple went sailing illegally in dangerous waters. A search team had to spend hours looking for them. What would be the alternative sentence? They had to spend a day at a festival standing in a small swimming pool and hanging out water safety leaflet. Number three, a man was arrested playing loud music late night for several days, ignoring his neighbor's request to turn it down. The alternative, it would be he was made to listen to classical music for 6 hours. And number four, a girl was caught stealing eggs from a farm close to her home. And the alternative, she had to work on the farm for free 1 month. Now they say that you need to compare your ideas with other students' ideas and which alternative sentences do you think would would the best and are the most imaginative. I really like these alternative sentences. Now, in this part, we are going to study some problems. Work in pairs or look at the phrases from 1 to 8 below and what do the words involved mean. Within which things can you see in photos A and E? Number one, public transportation or transport delayed. Number two, litter on the streets. Three, bad service in a restaurant or shop. Four, faulty equipment. Five, someone speaking loudly on their phone. Six, computer crashing. Seven, getting stuck in a traffic jam. And eight, receiving spam in your inbox. Discuss which of these things in exercise 1A annoy you the most and what other things annoy you at the home, at work, or in a shop. For example, I can stand people eating in the street. So, in this part, this is important for you to practice. Now we are going to have the second The last part of grammar or functions, complaining. So we have a chart. Be making a complaint, complain and respond. For example, if you're going to complain, you say, could you help me? A complaint there's a problem with, and the response will look into it right away. I'm afraid I have a complaint. An answer would be, it doesn't work. And another response, I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do at the moment. And another complaining is, excuse me, could I speak to the manager? I've been here for over an hour. And the response may be, I'm really sorry about that. Now, in this part, we have to listen to three people complaining and answer the questions. What are they? What problems do they describe? But you need to listen again and answer these questions. Conversation one, what does the receptionist offer to do? And number two, does she sound rude or polite? In conversation two, how long did the man wait for a table, sorry. How long did they wait for his meal? And number five, what reason did the manager give? In a conversation three, how long has the woman waited and why is the surprise? So listen to the conversations and then answer the questions.
Unit 10. Recording S10.5. Conversation 1.
Oh, hello. Could you help me? There's a problem with the air conditioning.
Oh, yes?
I've just tried to switch it on, but it doesn't work.
Is it completely dead?
Completely. Absolutely nothing.
Okay, we'll look into it right away. I'll send someone up. It'll take about 5 minutes, okay?
Thanks.
You're welcome. And sorry about that.
Okay, this is the first conversation. So we have two questions. What's the receptionist offered to do? And question number two, does she sound rude or polite? Let's continue. Conversation two.
Conversation 2.
I'm afraid I have a complaint. Could I speak to the manager, please?
Yes, of course.
Good evening, sir. I understand there's a problem.
Yes, I'm afraid I have a complaint.
Oh?
Well, we got here at 8, and then we waited about 20 minutes for a table.
Right.
This is for a table we'd reserved for 8, okay? Then we waited another hour for our meal.
Right.
1 hour. Then, when the check arrived, they put this extra charge on it.
An extra charge? That's probably the service charge.
Well, could you check this for me, please?
Yes, that's service.
Well, to be honest, I don't want to pay this.
Of course not. Well, sir, I'm really sorry about that. It's a very busy time of year.
All right, in conversation two, they have two other questions. How long did the man wait for a table? And how long did he wait for his meal? And what reason did the manager give? Do you agree? Let's continue.
Conversation 3.
Excuse me, do you work here?
Yes.
Do you know when the next train will be arriving? I mean, I've been here for over an hour.
I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do at the moment. Everything is delayed.
And you don't know when the next train is coming?
No.
Or why there's a delay?
Snow.
What?
Snow on the track. It was the wrong type of snow.
What do you mean, the wrong type of snow? You're kidding, right?
In conversation three, how long has the woman waited? And seven, what is a surprise? So you can listen to the conversation or read it and answer these three complainants. Now in this part, we are going to learn how to sound firm but polite. Listen to this. In what situations could you use these expressions? And we have a speak up tip. We want to criticize or complain. We usually use a phrase to introduce a complaint. This helps the listener to prepare for what are going to say. In this, the same in your language. How do you say the phrases in exercise 5A in your language? And you need to listen to the pronunciation. Pay attention.
Unit 10. Recording S10.6.
1,
Could you help me?
2,
I'm afraid I have a complaint.
3,
Excuse me, could I speak to the manager?
These are 3 ways to sound firm but polite. Could you practice? Now we are going to have an introduction to the video Mary's Meal. Martha Payne from Angill in Scotland became an internet sensation when she started posting photos of her school meals on her blog. Never second. Sometimes she wasn't happy with the meals that she was given and would give them a score out of 10. The local council banned her from taking photographs and posting them on the website, but Martha received support from around the world and soon was allowed to continue her blog. However, she heard about how children in some part of the world went to school hungry. She decided to use the blog to raise money for hungry children. She managed to raise over 100,000 pounds to help feed school children in Malawi through the project called Mary's Meals. In this program, she visits charity to see what they have done with the money. In the next exercise, you need to match the photo phrases involved in exercise 2A. Collect money, an organization that gives money or help people who need it, not allowed to do something, someone who becomes famous quickly on the internet, a number of points. So we have to watch the video, but is this you are going to see in class. In the next part, we are going to listen to a conversation on page 175, but this is my recommendation to watch the page and I will display the audio.
Unit 10. Recording S10.7.
1,
One thing that really annoys me is the fact that we import so much food from overseas rather than growing our own food here in this country. So you go to the supermarket and you can buy strawberries in the middle of winter. I suppose that's okay. But then you try to buy an apple, and the apples are from New Zealand, and you think, well, that's just crazy. I mean, I don't understand why we need to fly apples all over the world when we could just grow them here in this country. It really makes me angry. It would be so much better for the environment if people bought food locally. So I'd like to start a campaign to encourage people to buy and eat local food. Perhaps I could start a website or publish articles in newspapers to try to get people to stop buying food that comes from all over the world.
2,
I get really fed up with the fact that there's nothing for teenagers to do in this town. I just think it's really difficult because people complain that teenagers are just on the streets causing problems. But actually, there isn't really anywhere else for them to go. There are no sports facilities or clubs where they can spend time together and have some fun. And another thing is, we get a lot of crime because there are too many bored teenagers around. I'd like to raise money to build sports centers and youth clubs where teenagers can go to enjoy themselves or practice sports or learn something. I think there should be more things for teenagers to do, and they should be better and cheaper.
So on page 175 and in the preview of the video, you can listen to this about complainings. In the next part, this is the video about Mary's Meal, but I am not going to display because it could be banned by YouTube. So remember, practice, 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 because practice makes perfect. I hope that you have understood the lesson, and remember, thank you. I hope to see you in the next class. Thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you. Bye bye.